So in this video series, we will be seeing what is XSS, why XSS happens, what is the severity of XSS, what are the types of XSS, and different ways to do XSS vulnerability, and you will be able to hunt this vulnerability on all the live websites. So, what are the types of XSS? There are three types of XSS: reflected, wherein the input gets reflected onto the web application. For example, if you give an input, that is your name, into a search bar of any website, let's say you give Rohit, and Rohit is again reflected onto the website. For example, no results found for the query Rohit. Then this is a reflected type. You can try to search a reflected XSS there. Next is stored XSS. If the input gets stored into the server, then this type of vulnerability is known as stored XSS. In DOM XSS, if the input passes through the DOM, which is basically through the source and comes out of the sink, XSS works. So here is an example through which you will understand how a basic XSS works. As you can see, there is a client on the left side, on the right side it is a server, and there is an attacker. So the attacker sends a link to the client. The client will click on that link, and the client or the victim will authenticate it with the server. Remember, the link contains the malicious payload. After the victim has authenticated with the server will send the cookie to the attacker. Which cookie? The authenticated cookie of the client. Now the attacker has got the cookie of the client, and now attacker can log in as the victim or the client. So basically he is able to do an account takeover. So first we are going to see XSS reflected. Check for if input gets reflected in the page source, body or URL. So you should check whenever you give any input into a web page that it is getting reflected in the page source, in the body or in the URL. Next, if the input gets reflected, we can hunt for reflected XSS. Sending a simple JavaScript to execute and prove XSS we are going to do. If there is no input validation or sanitization, then it is very dangerous and there can be a vulnerability of XSS. So yes, this is the practical time now, and let's see reflected XSS how. So as you can see, I'm onto a web application which is testphp.vulnweb.com. On the left side you can see there is a search box in which I'm going to type Hacktify, and I will hit go. After typing Hacktify, you can see it has got reflected onto the website. As you can see here, it has got reflected, which means there is a reflection. So I can try for reflected XSS. I'm just going to try a very basic JavaScript and see that if this JavaScript gets reflected or executed. If this JavaScript gets executed, then there is a vulnerability of reflected XSS. So a simple JavaScript looks like script alert something into that alert box, let's say 2, and script close. Let me open a Sublime text editor and show you what the script looks like. So the script starts, the script ends, and in the middle you can see there is an alert which says 2. So when this script is going to get executed, there should be an alert box with the number 2. Yes, so the application is successfully executing our JavaScript, which means this application is vulnerable to reflected XSS. Now, what we are going to do is, instead of to, I'm going to type document.domain, in which I'm going to see the name of the web application. So the web application name is testphp.vulnweb. Let's see if we can get the name. Yes, so we have got the name. Now, let's try to get a cookie from this application. So for that, we are going to type document.cookie, and we are going to execute this JavaScript. And I will hit enter and press go. As you can see, this has got executed, but not showing any type of cookie, because we are not authenticated into the website right now. So the website has not generated any cookie for the user. I hope you guys understood what is reflected XSS. Thank you. Hello everyone. So in this video, we are going to see how to do manual XSS payload building. So this is very important because we know we find XSS everywhere in most of the website. So in this video, we will learn how we can do manual XSS payload building. So let's see this. I'm onto this website, which is orientalbirdimages.com. So I'm just going to search for Hacktify in the input, that is search. And after, I can see it is getting reflected, where it is getting reflected into the URL bar, as you can see over here. Perfect. So I will just go to the page source by clicking on view page source. As you can see, this is the page source. I'm going to copy this and go to editor. Now I'm going to paste the page source into this notepad editor. So after just pasting it over here, I'm going to search for the input that I gave, and I gave Hacktify, and you can see there is one match. Perfect. So as you can see over here, Hacktify is the input which is coming in the parameter that is value. So the parameter is value, and the input that has been given, which is the value, is over here between the double quotes. If you can see, double quotes here and double quotes here, and the value is, which means the input is into this double quotes. Perfect. So by this we can conclude that whatever we give as an input into this website comes into this types of double quotes. So if we give the payload, XSS payload, it will also come between this double quotes. Perfect. As you can see over here, there is also a closing bracket, which indicates this is the closing bracket for this opening bracket, which is input type. Yes, so let's see furthermore. Our input comes between this double quotes. We have already seen that. And now let's say if I give a XSS payload onto that search field, it is going to come like this into the input, somewhat like this. Yes, a simple XSS payload, that is script alert1 and script tag close. Now as you can see, my payload has become the value, and if my payload becomes a value, I cannot do XSS. So let me just try to hit it over here and hit go. As you can see, nothing happened, no execution, therefore no XSS. Which means I need to balance this. I need to balance the input which is going over here. My input is becoming value between these double quotes. So what if I try to make this value come out of those double quotes? How? So the application logic is any input should come between double quotes. What if I give a double quote into my payload itself? The application will get tricked, and the application will think, let's say if I give a double quotes over here after Hacktify, the application will think that the value is completed over here, the input is completed over here, and it will treat this as outside of the value, and it will try to execute it. Perfect. So I'm just going to copy this double quotes and closing bracket, and I'm going to tell that the input gets closed over here, and basically the value gets closed over here, whatever the attacker is going to give. In our case, we are going to give Hacktify and XSS payload. So a double quote here, and then I'm going to close this by this closing bracket of this input type. So I'll just do that quickly, and double quotes and closing bracket. Perfect. So now my payload is this. What is my payload? My payload is Hacktify, double quotes, closing bracket, and then script alert1 script tag close. Let me just save this source code into a file which is balance1.html, and let's try to open this balance1.html into a web browser. If we get a XSS execution, then we have successfully balanced our payload. So let's try to see this. Perfect. We got one. Let's try to reload this, and we are getting an XSS execution, which means we have successfully balanced our payload. Perfect. So let's take this payload from here now. Our payload starts from Hacktify till script tag close till here. Let's copy this, go into the website and paste it over here, put it and hit go. Perfect. We have successfully balanced our payload. Let's go to one more website. This is bewakoof.com. Let's try to search for Hacktify over here and hit enter. Now you can see I'm getting a reflection of Hacktify. Now I will right click and do view page source because I want to see the source code. I'll just copy this, go into my favorite editor again and paste it over here. Now I'm going to search for the input, that is Hacktify. As you can see, there are total 17 matches, which means it is getting reflected at 17 positions, 17 different positions into the page source. So I'm going to take one of the source that I want. So let's see which source do we take. Not this one. Let's try to take a source which is, let's say, param equals to value type. So yeah, let's take this one. Over here you can see Hacktify is getting reflected. Now what if I, instead of Hacktify, I give the XSS payload with Hacktify? So it is going to look somewhat like this into the page source. Hacktify script alert 1 script tag close, a basic XSS payload. As you can see over here, it would look somewhat like this if I have given the input. Now, as you can see, it has not got balanced because it has become a value. So I do not want my payload to become value. So I'm going to take this out of the value tag. How do I take it out? I have seen that this meta property tag gets closed like this. So I'm going to close it here only into my input payload. So my payload is now Hacktify double quote slash closing brace and then the XSS payload. Perfect. Let's try to save this. Go to the browser and let's try to reload this and see if we are able to get a XSS execution or not. If we get it, then we have successfully balanced our XSS payload and it works perfectly fine. So yes, when I reload this, I have got the XSS execution, which means we have successfully balanced our attack vector. Perfect. Let's go to the third website in which we are going to see again XSS balancing. So in this, I search for Hacktify. I'll go to the page source. I'm getting there for the reflection. I'm going to just copy this, go into my notepad editor. I'm going to paste it here and search for Hacktify. As you can see, this is the input which I searched for is getting reflected at only one position. Perfect. So here, if I have given the input as an XSS payload with Hacktify, it would have looked somewhat like this. Script alert 1 script tag close, and I wrote an extra script tag. Let me just delete this one. Yep, so now it's perfect. Hacktify script alert 1 script tag close. This is what the input will be given. Now it is not balanced, guys. So for balancing, let me see how can I try to balance this. So let me go here and you can see that this is going to be get ended somewhere here. A script tag is getting closed. So maybe a new script tag will start, and let me try to end the script tag over here only. So let's say if I add a script tag like this and script tag close, and then execute the script, the XSS payloads. Let's try to go here and reload this. Perfect. We are getting an XSS execution over here. So yes, we are able to execute this, and we are able to successfully build an manual XSS attack vector. So I hope you guys understood that whenever onto any application, if you're not able to get an XSS, maybe you're missing the most important thing, that is balancing it. So this was one of the manual approach of balancing an XSS while looking at the page source. I hope this helps, and thank you. Hello everyone. So here it is one more proof of concept for explaining a reflected type of XSS, or RXSS. So what happens in reflected XSS is whenever a user gives input to the web application will take that input, interpret it, and basically reflect it. In this case, when we are going to give an input that is going to be our XSS payload, the application will take that input, and instead of reflecting it, it is going to execute it. If any application is executing the arbitrary supplied payload or input, then the application is vulnerable to XSS in case of JavaScript execution. So let's see this. As you can see, there is a search field. I'm going to type Hacktify into the search field right now. Along with this, I'm going to give the simple basic payload that we know, that is script alert1 script tag close, and I'm going to hit enter. As you can see, the application executed our payload, which means this application is vulnerable to a reflected XSS attack. I hope you guys understood. Thank you. Hello everyone. So in this video, we are going to see one more case for XSS, and we will also see the balancing of the XSS. So as you can see, there is a search parameter. I'm going to search into this parameter Hacktify, and I will hit enter, and you can see the parameter is getting reflected, right? So I'm going to test for reflected XSS. So I will just give Hacktify and the simple payload here. As you can see, script alert1 script tag close, and hit enter. As you can see, our JavaScript payload did not execute. Something stopped the payload from executing. So let's see what stopped this from executing by opening the page source, and let's search for Hacktify to see where does it get reflected. As you can see, it is getting reflected over here. So there are total 66 matches where it is getting reflected. Checking all of them, we realize that we need to balance our payload. There are total 66 reflection where Hacktify gets reflected, right? So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to balance my payload. Yes, as you can see here, if you can look closely, here you can see this gets ended by this. This whole placeholder gets ended by this. So what I'm going to do is in the value parameter where my payload is getting input reflected, I'm going to end this payload itself, okay, and make this payload come out of the value. So I'm going to end this by adding this at the start. So let me just go back to the website, and this time let me use a new payload and also try to balance it. So I'm using image source payload. Image source equals to X. Is there any source like that? No. This is an invalid source. So the application will throw an error on, and we have given on error confirm 1. Okay. It did not get reflected. It got reflected, but it did not got executed. So what we are going to do is, as we saw into the page source, we are going to balance it like this, and we are going to hit enter. Yes, and you can see we got an alert, which means we were successfully able to execute the JS and successfully able to exploit the XSS vulnerability. I hope you understood. Thank you.